Okay, this is my review of Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania. Now, I sort of just seen this on Friday evening. Now, I didn't see this in the cinema when it came out, but I did previously see the two previous movies, and I actually really enjoyed them. This came out in February, is it 2023? And I managed, and then luckily, obviously, this was put on was it Disney Plus? So that's how I kind of saw it. The movie stars Paul Rudd, Evelyn Lilly, Jonathan Myers or Majors, Kathleen Newton, David Dest Machini, I can't pronounce his name properly, Katie O'Brien, William Jackson Harper, Bill Murray, Michelle Pfeiffer, Corey Stoll, and Michael Douglas. The movie was produced by Kevin Feige, Stephen Sword, and was directed once again by Peyton Reed. We start off with the movie with basically a flashback as to the character Janet, played by Michelle Pfeiffer. Obviously, she's stuck on the macro world, and obviously she's been attacked, and then she gets saved by Jonathan Myers, who we know is Kang, or another variant of him. We then obviously flashback to obviously presently on Earth, where we see Paul Rudd's character, Scott Lang, all happy now because obviously with him being accepted as being a Avenger, and then now people recognizing him as a hero, and it seems to got a little bit to his head. He's even written a book and gets free stuff, and he's well liked and loved. But it seems that he seems to be having issues with his daughter, who keeps getting herself into trouble, and even has his technology to shrink as well, although she's been told to use it only in emergencies. She then decides to send a signal to the macro world, where she basically wants to map out the whole area. But then Michelle Pfeiffer's character, obviously Janet, gets upset and then tells her to switch the machine off. Now, you can tell that she's very worried and distressed as to why she wants the machine off. Obviously, she seems to be holding something back with the rest of the family as to what's kind of going on. Which obviously you do find out why, and it kind of makes sense when it's resolved as to the reason why. Again, in this review, I don't kind of want to spoil it as to why she has issues with interfering with what's going on there, but it does play a part in her past, and obviously when she was trapped in that world for the past obviously 30 years. So you kind of understand why that she has that issue. And obviously Scott Lang's daughter Cassie, obviously she's been helping people because obviously during when they had the blip, obviously where some people disappeared for 5 years, and a lot of people became homeless and lost their jobs, so she's been kind of helping them. And obviously whereas the government haven't been helping them, and obviously with her father obviously being an Avenger, being a hero, the relationship is a little bit strained because she wants him to use his powers, not obviously shrinking powers, but his powers as a Avenger to help people. And she believes that he's kind of, now that he's let the hero complex salt his head, that he doesn't seem to care about helping people anymore. So as I said before, Cassie's been working on a device which will help contact the quantum realm, and obviously Janet's obviously supposed not too keen on this. But then something happens where they all end up getting pulled into the quantum realm, once again, or well, with some of the characters, and they end up splitting off into two teams. So Hank Pym is with his wife Janet, and then obviously they're trying, and then Scott Lang and Cassie are basically stranded together separately. So then it's a matter of them trying to kind of find each other and finding their way out of trying to escape from the quantum realm. You end up finding out that Janet's mum. There's been a lot of things that were going on while she was there during her 30 years there, and then there's a lot of things that she never told Hank and Scott about what she did there and how she survived there. So she's kind of acting really kind of erratic in terms of trying to tell them as to what she had to do to survive and what kind of happened. We do meet a Marvel character called Mordok, who I won't reveal who the character really is, but there is a link with Ant-Man 1, so that's a kind of a reveal there. Now, this comes at my first kind of negative or dispick with the film, is that with the character of Mordok, I don't think they did a very good job in the character development of the character of Mordok. And although he basically does look like the comic book or even the animated version of him, to me, the way they kind of depicted the character and even to the way he looks to me was a huge disappointment. In the past, I did hear that they were supposed to be doing some big things with that particular character, but it's the fact that in terms of how they ended up translating this into this movie, which for me was a bit of a disappointment. And I did hear this with other people that did watch the movie, where it was a disappointment in terms of what they did with the Mordok character. You then find out that that it was Mordok that received the signal, Cassie's signal, and then drew them to Quantum Realm for a particular reason. We then find out that Janet actually met Krang before, and basically he was trapped there, and then she basically used her expertise to try and help him escape from the quantum realm. And basically part of the deal was that by helping him fix his ship, she would obviously would get back to see her daughter, Hope. Now, at the time, it would have been that Hope would have been a little girl, but obviously we obviously know that this doesn't happen. Otherwise, she wouldn't have been trapped there for 30 years. She ends up finding out that that Kang isn't all that he seems by touching the ship, and then she finds out his true agenda and then what he's basically been up to, and then obviously she basically stops him. So that kind of obviously ended up preventing her from escaping the quantum realm and then getting back to her daughter. So we find out now why she was stuck there for 30 years. And obviously with the help of Scott and her daughter, she eventually did escape from the quantum realm. Obviously that we saw in the previous movie. So eventually it did happen, but obviously 30 years later. We then find out obviously that Kang basically needs Scott's help to get a certain device that will help him power his ship, and basically uses Scott Lang's daughter as a bargaining chip, in terms of that he'll kill her if he doesn't do as he demands, and he keeps using this saying that his word is his bond. But so if he does as he says, he'll let him and his daughter go and let him get back to the normal life. But we know that bad guys can't be trusted. Obviously, he does get to finding the actual device, but then obviously, as we know what all bad guys do, they end up double crossing him, and obviously Scott ends up being rescued by Hope, and then basically Kang wants to use the device to escape from the quantum realm and then start destroying all the different timelines as a form of revenge, because obviously he was exiled there, because obviously he was a very dangerous man. And obviously it's basically with the resistance group that who are already on the quantum realm. It's a matter of them all teaming up to obviously to stop Kang from escaping, and then obviously causing havoc, and then obviously trying to find a way home. So that's pretty much is the basic story, obviously, with the multiverse. There are two post credits. It's one after the first post credit that we see, which again I won't spoil, but it does involve Kang, which obviously is probably going to set up the future Marvel movies, or probably Phase 5. And then also there's another post credit right at the very end, featuring Loki, which I assume will set up Loki season 2, which I think is going to be airing next 2024. I may be wrong on that. So yeah, so that's basically the actual film. Now, what did I think of the film? I'm gonna be honest with you. I thought the film was alright. I think it was above average. I did like. I think Jonathan Majors was probably the highlight of the actual movie. With him as the bad guy, he really did seem very menacing and obviously very cruel. He kind of starts off as you think that he's a man of his word, and he actually does care. But then you see him as what you see with most maniacal villains. They soon show their true twisted side. And I thought he did a very good job in actually showing the actual character of how he is, where he's kind of very menacing, and that he really is a real threat to the heroes. And obviously it's going to be a real threat in the Phase 5 Marvel movies, so it's going to be interesting in terms of what they do with that. Story wise, for me I felt it was kind of nothing kind of spectacular or kind of outstanding. It kind of served its purpose. There's a couple of comedic bits here and there, not too much of to the fact that it's overly too funny where it might overstay its welcome. Obviously, the strange relationship between Scott Lang and Cassie is kind of great. So I think they did kind of a good job there. Again, as before, there's kind of nothing really kind of special about the story. I thought Michael Douglas as Hank Pym, he was really good in it. I'm really glad, which I won't spoil. There's a certain something happens in the film where he's kind of given something really meaty to do, and it pretty much almost kind of saves the day in a way, in terms of what happens with him. So I like the idea that they didn't totally make his character useless and obsolete and not give them anything to do. I thought Hope Van Dyne's character as the Wasp, she was really good in terms of what her character did, but then I thought there was not enough of her in terms of her character. Now, the only kind of issue that I kind of have with the Scott Lang character is that I did think in places towards the end of it that they kind of made him a bit hopeless in terms of him as hero, in terms of the fighting, kind of a bit kind of a little bit goofy, but then it wasn't kind of overly too much in terms of what they kind of did with his character. But I would have loved to seen his character grow in stature as in terms of being a hero now that he's an Avenger, and after the events he's been with the Avengers. It would have been nice to see him kind of do a little bit more. His daughter Cassie, she's pretty much exactly like her old man. What I did like about her character is that they didn't kind of make her OP in the sense that she totally knew what to do as a hero straight away. She kind of had to learn and kind of grow literally in stature in being a hero. So she kind of didn't know it all from the very beginning, which I thought was kind of great. And in terms of her character, in terms of being clever at inventing and making stuff, I do like the idea of her, where they're kind of giving her, making a strong, young, independent young woman. So I thought that was great as well. It wasn't too, as some people might say, woke. So they did a good job there. If I'd say what the two biggest features of the movie, for me it wasn't really kind of the story. Again, it just served its purpose. For me, it was the special effects. Um, you could clearly tell from this third movie that that they were given a much bigger budget compared to the first two previous movies, and that really showed it very in particular when we get down to the quantum realm, and then you see how the detailed the special effects were. I thought the special effects were really outstanding, and it did really feel much more of a kind of a big budget Marvel movie. In terms of the long side of the Avengers Endgame and Infinity War. As I thought, compared to the previous two Ant-Man movies, it's not to say that the special effects were bad, because they weren't, but you can really tell that in this movie that they really stepped up its game in terms of the special effects. And you can tell that they've got a lot of various different special effects companies to work on the visual effects, because when you watch the actual end credits, the amount of people that they had working on it was pretty well, it was thousands upon thousands of people. Different companies like probably ILM, Digital Domain. They even had Sony doing some of the special effects. I mean, I remember back in the day that maybe in the early 2000s and early 90s and the 80s, where you only had one. It was only one visual effects company, just like say like ILM, for example, just working on one movie. Now, with the big blockbuster movies, now you seem to see like maybe 7 or 8 different digital effects companies working on the same movie. So you could have Weta working on the movie, ILM working on the actual movie, Digital Domain working on that same movie. So it's come a really long way. So again, yeah, one of the outstanding things I did really love about the movie were the special effects. Also, the action set pieces in the movie I thought were really kind of well done, especially towards the last third of the movie, where all the big battle really kind of takes place in the actual movie. I thought that the special effects were and along with the action in it were really great. The action in it was kind of really great, and in terms of the shrinking and the enlarging, them having doing kind of new and inventive stuff with things with their powers to defeat the villains and their cohorts in the movie were actually really outstanding. And I think if it wasn't for the visual effects and the action set piece, I think it kind of would have been a very below average movie. But I think that really helped it heighten the actual movie itself. But yeah, I'm not gonna complain and say that I didn't enjoy the movie, because I did enjoy it. It's just that, is it a movie that I'm gonna remember in a week's time? I'm gonna be honest with you and say no. I probably wouldn't remember it again as of what's watching Disney Plus. Eventually, when it comes out on Blu-ray and it drops down to a decent price, I will add this to my collection. So because I want to complete my Marvel film collection. In the meantime, while I'm waiting for a price drop on some of the previous movies in the Marvel movie series, I get access to them on Disney Plus. Just means you have to wait for a couple of months after the cinema release. So with with Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, with it being May now, you're probably maybe looking at about maybe late August, mid August maybe. Early September, so around about August, September I would say, maybe, until that comes on. So yeah, I probably will wait for that to come on Disney Plus. So yeah, but overall, yeah, if I had to give it out of 10, I probably would give it maybe a 7. Again, I think the first one was probably my favourite one, because I obviously did know kind of what to kind of expect in the actual movie. But yeah, I did. It's one of those films for me where, if you want to kind of lose yourself in a film where you want to just see some good action set pieces, a decent story, good visual effects, then you can't go wrong with this movie. So yeah, I thought it was decent. Again, not kind of outstanding, and I would say that that for me, aside from obviously Guards of the Galaxy Volume 3, which obviously I haven't seen yet, the Phase 4 Marvel Phase 4 has kind of been a little bit of it's been a disappointment for me. Don't get me wrong, I have found enjoyment in some of the movies that have been in Phase 4, but kind of has been a bit anticlimactic and kind of not anything kind of outstanding or memorable which is kind of the similar thing with this movie. But yeah, I'll just, if you got Disney Plus, I would say definitely kind of give it a go if you want to. If you haven't watched it, I would say definitely watch it. You can't, you'll be entertained for the 2 hours that it's kind of on for. Again, as I said, Jonathan Major's character, the villain, it was kind of the big highlight of the actual movie. So, yeah, that's my review of Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Anyway, I hope people enjoy this review. Feel free to share with your friends and family. Also, if you can give this video a thumbs up, I highly appreciate it. It would help people find my YouTube channel and content on YouTube, because obviously the YouTube algorithm favour the bigger YouTubers, so that will help people find my YouTube channel, the YouTuber homepage. Also, if you haven't, please consider subscribing to my YouTube channel if you want to see movie reviews like this, or other various different content available on my YouTube channel. And it just leaves me to say, wherever you are in the world, please stay safe, and I'll speak to you all again soon. Bye for now.